Hello everyone and welcome to Promenade MTL. My name is Merrick and I'm going to be showing you today how to get to Montreal's Chinatown neighborhood from the Grand Quai in the old port of Montreal. It's not a very long walk. It should take you about 10 minutes and you're going to be getting to the Chinatown just by crossing a highway boundary that's sort of cordons off the Old Montreal neighborhood. So if you're wandering around Montreal and you kind of didn't notice, and you saw the newer buildings, you'd think, okay, I've gone as far as I need to go, but you could actually just go a bit further and see something a little bit interesting. So let's walk and talk, and I'll show you guys how to get there. Now, let me take a couple minutes and just introduce you to a little bit about myself. I've been living in Montreal all my life. I currently live in the southwest suburb, and basically I've lived in the downtown and visited the Old Port and Old Montreal throughout my life, so I'm quite a bit of an expert. And in addition to that, I worked in the Old Port for many, many years. So I was quite frequently accosted by tourists looking to know how to find different things or get to different places. So I think, personally, I enjoy visiting a Chinatown in any place I visit. And I think the Chinatown in Montreal has something to offer. That being said, I'm not going to point out a particular restaurant or a specific thing to do in Chinatown. I always find some place that's sort of a cafe, bakery type of place and indulge in some student food of some sort. That's always my preference. But you might have something else in particular that you want. Just as you could see here in the video, we're coming out of the quay and basically walking right along this garden path. It's a short walk. It won't take us very long. We will be heading up St. Lawrence Street, and that's the street that would bring you to the gate of Chinatown, like you see in many cities. In our particular case, we're going to have to walk around because there's a little bit of construction, but you'll see that in a moment. One of the peculiarities of the Chinatown in Montreal, it's a product of a little bit of urban planning. At some point in the past, they zoned the area around the few blocks that make up the Chinatown as a different sort of commercial zoning to prevent I guess you want to say the sprawl of the district. I've been to places in Markham, which is sort of a suburb of Toronto, and the Chinatown just seems to be everywhere. And I think it was a good thing that what Montreal did here is to try to force the proprietors of the buildings to maintain and invest in their properties. Now, that being said, it's sort of in transition at this point in time. There's a lot of construction going on in the city, and that's no different for that district. And there's a few shops, or quite a few shops, that have closed. We've made it to St. Lawrence Street, and this is the street that you normally take to go straight up into Chinatown. There's some construction, so let's get around that. Once we sort of get to the top of this little hill, we'll be on the intersection of Notre Dame Street. It's basically one of the biggest streets in Old Montreal. It has a lot of stuff on it. Up in front, you could actually see at the corner, this is the Montreal Courthouse, and on the other side of the street, there's a McDonald's behind that mesh. Up ahead, you could get a pretty quick idea of some of the issues when you're visiting Montreal during the summer. it's construction season, so our direct route to the gates of Chinatown is blocked. We need to go around. This is not too big a deal, just one street to the left, go up by the right on the other street, St. Urbain, and then basically we could go back to St. Lawrence on the other side. By the way, this part that we cross over here is the actual highway boundary I was talking about. Now as we head further up the street, we're gonna basically advance along St. Lawrence. And you could turn left on De la Gauchetière. That's the main street with all the shops and little restaurants that you could visit. You could see it's really old style Chinatown type vibe. The buildings are quite old. There's a mix of some that have been repaired and renovated, and there's some quite old ones. But basically when the pandemic came along, it started to shake out some of the businesses that were a little less well kept. Some of the restaurants got changed into boutiques, stuff like that. A lot of the restaurants got kind of changed more into bakeries and things that served more takeaway. But all in all, it's actually pretty nice if you think about it. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Please like, subscribe, and share if you can. Thank you very much.